So in this one, I'm going to show the distortion preset. It's pretty simple. It's got two different kind of saturation algorithms going on, but you can treat it kind of like a distortion pedal with some EQ involved, like distortion often does. So you've got a pre-gain up here, a post-gain down here, and then in between you have a couple filters, and it goes through a soft clipper. So tilt is kind of like it is on some other presets. It's just a filter that sort of tilts towards high frequencies or low frequencies. If you're at 0, it's leaving the spectrum flat. And then the other thing you have here is a mid-gain and mid-freak. So you have one little peaking filter that you can move around. You can make it a notch if the gain is negative, or a peak if the gain's positive, and you can kind of put it where you want. So as an example, I'll start up a little sine wave going on here, and then I'll show the effect of changing the pre-gain and post-gain, and then moving around some of the filter knobs. So it gives you kind of a softened square wave out of a sine wave input here. And then I'll show what some of those filters do now. Versus a cut. So that's using the default mode of the distortion, which is kind of it's using the hyperbolic tangent, tan H function, which is a pretty common way to do soft clipping in digital world. If you push the A button, you can alternate between tan H clipping, the default, and another clipper that I call the shaper, which is polynomial shaper is how this one's doing it. And it's got kind of a different sound. It's a little more asymmetrical and kind of folds the wave in a little bit of a weird way. I like the tone of it. So one thing you can notice with that is that the shaper tends to kind of, as you distort it, it really focuses things towards the high frequencies and loses the bass. So you get kind of what feels like a bandpass filter moving around just from the distortion itself. As you increase distortion, the bandpass moves higher. And that's not present with the tan H. And that's basically it. The other buttons don't do anything in this preset. So here's using some speech input on the distortion, playing around with the settings a little bit.
And his arrival as a masked prisoner at the islands, and states that he died there in captivity 9 years after he was carried off. Dutans thus divests the episode of the element of the marvelous with which Voltaire had surrounded it. He called to his aid the testimony of the Duc de Choiseul, who, having in vain attempted to worm the secret of the Iron Mask out of Louis XV, begged Madame de Pompadour to try her hand, and was told by her that the prisoner was the minister of an Italian prince. At the same time that Dutens wrote, "There is no fact in history better established than the fact that the man in the Iron Mask was a minister of the Duke of Mantua, who was carried off from Turin." Monsieur Quentin Crawford was maintaining that the prisoner was the son of Anne of Austria, while a few years earlier, Boucher, a lawyer, in his Essai sur l'histoire de Provence, 2 volumes, 1785.
All right, we could try with a little bit of a drum beat too. See how that feels. So it's pretty interesting, a lot of different signals.